Hey guys, very quick video here. This just been brought to my attention. Diablo 4 basically changes from information that they've looked back over the beta. There's some cool stuff here. So dungeons, one of the most common pieces of feedback we received is that players felt there were a lot of backtracking with certain dungeons, which I agree with. There was. We've optimized multiple dungeons across the zones to minimize the need for backtracking. So here is a list of the updated zones within like fractured peaks. So there's some of the areas, but here's important. So our primary goal with the layout change was to reduce certain kinds of backtracking which detract from a player's experience. An example of this change is that players previously needed to enter side rooms to interact with structure objectives, causing them to retread the same path. Now, many of our structure objectives have been repositioned along the main dungeon pathways, making them easier for players to reach and allowing them to readily explore the dungeon after defeating the structure. So instead of having to go like left then right to be able to like get a key from here and then objective B from there and backtrack from one and then go to the other and back to like open a door, hopefully this is just all in like one kind of smooth path. It'll make the game feel a lot smoother, a lot faster. So I think this is a great change. Dungeon events, the chance for an event to spawn inside a dungeon has been increased by 10% to 60%. That's a massive change, but that could be quite cool. Excited for that. Dungeon gameplay, to reduce the need to backtrack, a small number of straggling monsters will seek out the player to help complete kill all monsters objective. That is a great change. When Animus is gathered, the player and all nearby allies will gain 10 resource and reduce all active cooldowns by 1 second. Depositing Animus channel time reduced from 3 seconds to 0. The time to rescue was reduced from 3 seconds to 1.5. All rescue objectives now drop a health potion upon completion. While carrying out the ancient statue, bloodstone, mechanical box, or stone carving, you receive a momentum bonus granting move speed to you and nearby allies. So it's just great. All these changes so far just sound really good to me. Pedestals have now had their channeling time reduced to 0. Returning a portable object to its pedestal now fully restores health, resource, potions, and resets cooldowns of all nearby players. Wow. All doors will now generate a minimap ping when they are opened. All structure objectives in dungeons now have additional combat mechanics players must overcome. Classes. So general, effects like stun and freeze can be applied to elite monsters twice as long before they become unstoppable. Reviewed classes skills to confirm that all classes have access to sufficient skills that remove control impairing effects. So when you're CC'd. And many legendary powers have had their effectiveness updated. And here we go with the classes now. So Barbarian, a flat 10% passive damage reduction has been added to the Barbarian class. Some skill tree passives have had their damage reduction effects reduced to compensate. Whirlwind now deals more damage and consumes more fury. And Double Swing skill refunds its full fury cost when used on stunned or knocked down enemies. Druid, companion skills will now deal heavily increased damage. I think that was needed. That's great. All ultimate skills have had their cooldowns reduced. Usability improvements have been made to maul and pulverize. And using a non-shapeshifting skill will now transform the druid back into human form. Necromancer, summoned minions will die more often, requiring players to utilize corpses more often. Many bonuses to the Book of the Dead have had their stats increased. The damage dealt by corpse explosion skill has been reduced. And the brightness of the skeletal warriors and mages has also been reduced. Rogue, upgrades to subterfuge skill have had their bonuses increased. Multiple passive skills have had their bonuses increased. And all imbuement skills have had their cooldowns increased. So we've got buff, and a nerf. Then Sorcerer, charge bolt damage was increased and the mana cost has decreased. Decrease the damage of chain lightning and reduce its effectiveness against bosses. Rip a bit of chain lightning against bosses. Decrease the cooldown for the incinerate skill enchantment bonus. Fireballs will now spawn underneath enemies more frequently when using the enchantment bonus and increase the lucky hit chance of meteor skill enchantment bonus. So yeah, so many changes here, some buffs, a few nerfs. Overall, I think this looks pretty good. So I'm quite happy with this. One thing I actually really like is the fact that the druid's companions now deal heavily increased damage. I hope that's actually quite a bit. So let me know down in the comments if you like these buffs or not here. And then they've got some changes to UI. Things like fix an issue where actions could not be bound to middle mouse wheel. I'll link all this down below if you want to read about all this stuff. We've got like encounters, we've got sellers, and general quality of life. So they fix things like if you saw, like it happened to me, the butcher became unresponsive. I saw that. That was on like necromancer. The minions would basically bug him out. The butcher has been re-evaluated for difficulty and will present a greater challenge in world tiers 3 and 4. So obviously we didn't get to check that out in the beta. Made it a bit easier for melee characters for some of the bosses. Sellers have had an increased chance for dungeon events to happen. Sellers will now constantly reward a chest upon completion. That is amazing change because they felt so like bland and boring before. So I think that's great. So this is huge. Rise QT actually put a video out on this. Fixed an issue where players could increase the attack speed by move cancelling attacks early. So you could hold down your move button and basically spam an attack skill and it would actually fire off faster and you would take like a bit of a step forwards, like animation cancelling. But that was a bit game breaking, I thought, so I'm glad that's been fixed. The reset dungeon button has been disabled. I'm not quite sure about this. I used to reset dungeons in the beta to be able to rerun them. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. But yeah, that's about it for this, guys. Remember, I got a Diablo 4 giveaway going on. And let me know what you think about the buffs and nerfs to the classes. Is it good? Is it bad? Let me know down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.